The Master Sword is perhaps the single most iconic weapon in video games. It allows Link to purge the darkest evils, cast beams of light at opponents, and even travel through time. But it's not the only powerful weapon in the Zelda series. Link has wielded a massive arsenal of legendary items that, in some cases, can be more powerful than the Master Sword itself. So today, let's run through every main series Zelda title in order of release, and discuss what I think is the game's most powerful weapon. A quick disclaimer, by strongest weapon, I'm going to try and go by which weapons deal the most damage, which weapons have the most destructive power. For example, even though no weapon aside from the Master Sword is able to defeat Ganon in Ocarina of Time, it's not the weapon that hits the hardest. In some cases, this will just be whatever the strongest main sword in the game is, but more often than not, items from Link's bottomless pockets are the most destructive. Sometimes this isn't easy to determine, so some of this list will be opinion based when there's no clear winner, so if you disagree with anything or if I've got anything wrong, let me know in the comments. But without further ado, let's list the Zelda series' strongest weapons. The original Zelda game famously starts Link right next to a cave, where a mysterious old man will give him a wooden sword. Later on in the game, Link can find more caves with better swords, and if he has enough hearts, can upgrade to the white sword and eventually the magical sword, which deals 4 times the amount of damage as the starter weapon. The magical sword deals the same amount of damage as silver arrows and bomb explosions, but has the advantage of infinite uses. Link doesn't expend any resources swinging it, which more than makes up for its shorter range. Adventure of Link is notoriously difficult. Even regular enemies can be incredibly tough to beat, but not if Link uses the Thunder spell. Thunder is taught to Link only after he's maxed out his magic meter and is required to damage the game's penultimate boss, the Thunderbird. While it uses a massive amount of magic, it will break the boss's first form and allow Link to damage it with his sword. But if used elsewhere, it will deal massive damage to almost any non-boss enemies on the screen, killing most in a single blow. A Link to the Past's world hides 3 sacred medallions, with which Link is able to unlock new abilities. All 3 are incredibly powerful. The Quake medallion has Link plunge the Master Sword into the ground and trigger an earthquake, either killing any grounded enemies nearby or transforming them into slimes, and the Ether medallion calls down lightning, destroying airborne enemies and freezing those on the ground. But the Bombos medallion is probably the most powerful single weapon in the game. It summons explosions all around and will kill almost anything on the screen outright. The game's silver arrows are also insanely strong, and are even able to kill some bosses in one shot, but the Bombos medallion's ability to completely wipe out entire groups of enemies at once makes it among the strongest items in the series. Completing the optional trading sequence in Link's Awakening rewards Link with the Boomerang. In the Switch remake, it behaves much as you'd expect it to, but it's absurdly powerful in the original game. While some enemies are relatively resistant to it, it will instantly kill most others in a single hit, and will even take out the final boss's final form, Death Eye, in one throw. Ocarina of Time also featured an awesome reward at the end of a trading sequence, the Big Goron's Sword. This behemoth blade deals twice as much damage as the Master Sword with far greater reach, though Link needs to forego a shield in order to swing it, and is unable to deal the final blow on Ganon. There's not much else to the Big Goron's Sword, it's just a really big, really hard-hitting sword. Another relatively obvious pick here, Majora's Mask sees the hero of time wear the Fierce Deity's Mask, an artifact only obtainable after collecting every other mask in the game. It transforms Link into the Fierce Deity, an enlightened, awakened dark god wielding a colossal double helix blade. The mask can only be used in boss fights, but it makes even the game's strongest bosses a joke. The deity attacks with both the sword and blade beams to rack up ridiculous damage incredibly quickly, and the mask is a solid contender for the single most powerful item in the entire series. Big Goron's sword isn't only the strongest weapon in Ocarina of Time, but also in its next appearance, the Oracle games. The sword is obtained in a different way in each of the 2 games, but works the same way in both. Again, wielding it means that Link can't use a shield, but in return, the sword swings in a much greater arc than any other, and with much more range. It deals as much damage as the Master Sword in most cases, though it's able to destroy Armos in one swing. Just like I mentioned in my Easter eggs video, Four Swords features the Chain Chomp as an item. The Link who wields it will hold it on a chain, where it'll bounce around and pounce at nearby enemies, swallowing them whole and even damaging other Links. As far as I'm aware, this makes it the strongest single item in the game. Defeating Phantom Ganon for the final time in the Wind Waker rewards Link with the Light Arrows, sacred projectiles designed to repel evil, and the only weapons capable of damaging Puppet Ganon and stunning Ganondorf himself. Against any other regular enemy, the Light Arrows will instead annihilate their target completely, causing them to explode in a flash of blinding light. Even heavily armoured, powerful foes like Darknuts can't withstand it, and the arrow can pierce through and destroy multiple enemies with a single shot. Just like A Link to the Past, Four Swords Adventures features the Quake and Bombos medallions, which work much the same way this time around, except that they're not strictly items, more like power-ups that appear only on certain stages. Still, though, the Bombos medallion has lost none of its potency. It still clears every enemy on the screen in a fiery rainbow cataclysm, so I'll give it the top spot here too. The Minish Cap tells the story of the Four Sword, the legendary blade with the ability to split its wielder into 4 copies. While the sword is exceptionally powerful, it doesn't deal nearly as much damage as an explosion from a bomb. And though they're difficult to use effectively in combat, they can be swapped for remote bombs with Bellari, which, as you'd expect, function as bombs that can be detonated at will by Link. This makes them much more effective in combat, especially against enemies that are hard to hit. Twilight Princess is somewhat infamous for spoiling Link with a massive selection of awesome looking items like the Dominion Rod and Spinner, but then not really utilising these items as much as it could. This includes one of the most metal items in the series, the Ball and Chain. It's exactly what its name suggests, a huge spiked ball on a metal chain that Link can spin round and hurl at whatever stands before him. While it's not as useful as I'd like it to be, it does pack a huge punch. It can smash through ice and rock, and its impact seems to share the same code as a bomb explosion, as it causes spiderwebs to burn when hit. Phantom Hourglass's hammer is one of the few Zelda items not actually used by Link. It's instead wielded by Ciela, his fairy. This gives it massive range, and if the button is held, it'll swell up in size before crashing down with a massive impact. It deals more damage than any other item in the game, and is incredibly satisfying to boot. Spirit Tracks has Link upgrade his bow into the Sacred Bow of Light in the Sand Temple. Aside from looking really cool, each shot deals 2 times the damage of a regular arrow or of a strike from the Lokomo Sword, which is the same damage as a bomb explosion. Skyward Sword is a story about the birth of the Master Sword, the blade of evil's bane forged in the distant past by a goddess. Despite this, no weapon in the game deals anywhere close to the damage that a bomb does. They hit over twice as hard as the true Master Sword does. Obviously, they're not amazing for combat and have limited uses, but they're unmatched in terms of sheer destruction. Potions are almost always used to buff Link in some way, to restore health, recover magic or stamina, to increase weapon strength or durability, but not a Link Between Worlds purple potion. Instead, this potion deals damage. Drinking it causes a massive explosion centered on Link that deals far more damage than any other weapon in the game. Just like Phantom Hourglass, Triforce Heroes follows the rules of Robert's Rebellion. Hammers are stronger than swords. The hammer deals twice as much damage as sword strikes, but this isn't all. One of the game's central mechanics is dressing up in different outfits to make use of their buffs, and if Link wears the Hammer Bros outfit, it'll buff the strength, size, and speed at which Link swings the hammer, making it the strongest weapon in the game. Breath of the Wild features far more weapons than any other game in the series, and some of them are absurdly powerful, like the Savage Lionel Crusher or Royal Guard equipment, or the Sheikah-built Ancient Arrows, which delete most enemies in a single shot. But the Champion's Ballad DLC introduces a weapon that can delete everything in one shot. The one-hit obliterator. Unlike the ancient arrows, which function differently depending on which type of enemy is hit, ranging from simple bonus damage to instant annihilation, the one-hit obliterator doesn't discriminate. Its damage value is simply infinite. In actuality, it's set to a value of 99,999, which is still an order of magnitude above the amount needed to kill any of the game's enemies or bosses in one shot. Of course, there are 3 significant downsides to the obliterator. It reduces Link's hearts down to the point where taking any damage at all will kill him, it needs to recharge after 2 hits, and it's only usable during a very limited portion of the game. But in terms of sheer damage output, it's a contender for the most powerful item in the Zelda series. As always, I can't stress enough how great it is as a source of information on anything and everything Zelda, including a page that compiles stats of the various strengths of